send her most of my paycheck, if not all of it, to pay for the house, pay for the bills, and for her to get data for her phone. But I'm not working anymore, so that's really scary.
To be fair, it is quite worrying that Brandon would move all the way to the Philippines without no money, without enough savings. I mean, look at it this way. He already knew that Mary wasn't working. He knew that she wasn't bringing any money in. He also knew that going there, he wasn't going to have a job straight away. And then also on top of that, he also knows that every money that he did have, he sent it to Mary to pay for their home. The home that now even her grandparents live in as well. But here's the thing though, if the grandparents have been living there this whole time, then that means the grandparents may not have any money, and that's why they've decided to situate themselves there for as long as they have. But either way though, Brandon realistically can't be looking at Mary for the financial issue, because they've had, what, 2 years to plan for this? And in that timeline, he's giving away all the money rather than saving some and giving some. Now, of course, we could easily sit here and flip the script and say, but what about Mary's role, blah, 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 blah. But the fact is, in their relationship, it seems to me as if it was abundantly clear that Brandon would be the one that's providing. And now he's come in a situation where he's unable to, so now he's looking for other resources, which I understand. But, well, let's get into it.
Is there any chance that we could go to your grandpa for, like, a loan or something?
I mean, to be honest with you, let's just think about this logic here. If the grandpa had money for a loan, don't you think the grandpa would have basically had his own house built by now, or had enough money to repay the home that they had? Because right now, this whole scene is built in the home that they lived in before everything went down. So in reality now, I don't know how much it costs to have a house, to buy a house, to rent a house, to repair a house in the Philippines. But the fact is though, I think it's actually quite outrageous that Brandon thinks that there's going to be money laying around there, because if there was money laying around there, I would imagine that the grandpa would have been out here doing something else with it. So again, to be honest with you, it's still also concerning that Brandon didn't think of this conversation or this question before actually leaving. Asking for this now, for me personally, that just doesn't make any sense. It's very non-manly. I don't even know if that's even a word, non-manly. Yeah, that's two words separate. Yeah, non-manly, yes. A new phrase for you there. But we continue.
Just don't want to ask help anymore from him because he already sacrificed a lot. I don't want to make him stressed.
I don't know why she's having one hell of a hissy fit, to be honest with you. Like, now here we go again, another Mary breakdown. Why is this happening? Can somebody please explain me why this is happening? This shouldn't be happening to the slightest. What's wrong with this girl? Every little thing, there's always something to be crying about. She needs to grow the F up, man. The man asked a question. Okay, yeah, he's a bit persistent with the question. I get that. But you ain't got to make a whole scene about it. I want to know the deep root behind why she gets so emotional so quickly. I mean, apart from the fact that it is 100% one of her manipulating factors, I want to know what made her like this. Because this is dark. It's disgusting to watch. Hard to watch. Disturbing. No, annoying to watch. Yeah. Because it's manipulative. That's why it's annoying and frustrating.
What he makes on the farm or what he spends his money on, but I know he didn't spend it on the house. I'm the one who did that, so.
Listen, I completely understand Brandon's perspective. I completely understand where he's coming from. But again, I will go back to the point that I'm making here, and that is, this should be the conversation you discussed a long time ago. This is not one of those things that you put out there once you get there. You know? That is the grand scheme of it. But is he wrong to think this? No. Because clearly, obviously, the grandparents would have been able to earn money and pay for the way they lived beforehand. So, of course, it does bring the question, why are they still here? Are they ever going to move out? And also on top of that, whilst they are here, are they going to put any money towards the rent? And I think, to be honest, if they could afford the rent beforehand, or well, then again, they could have just bought the house. But either way, though, if they could afford to run the house they were in before without Brandon's money, well, then obviously they should be able to afford it now. Do you know what I mean? Like in his property, because really and truly, they are living in Brandon's house and they're living there rent free. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I would ask the question, maybe the whole time Brandon was giving money to Mary, maybe Mary was using that money and giving it to the grandparents to pay for the bills. But then at the same time, if that was the case, well, then Mary wouldn't have been able to get them the property that they have now. So clearly that money that was coming from Brandon to Mary was definitely going to their home. But then again, at the same time, maybe there's a thing to say that maybe the whole time Mary had planned to take money of Brandon to buy, to build a home or whatever it is that they're doing, a home that would then be for herself and also grandparents as well as Brandon. So maybe that was the plan all along. But either way, though, Brandon should 100% got his reassurances before flying. You know, getting answers before flying rather than assuming that's going to be A-okay as soon as he lands there. Because now he's put himself in a very irritating situation.
He didn't pay for your college. You had a scholarship.
He's the one who gave us
Without
food.
any interruption, please.
I just want to explain. He's the one who gives us food.
Yes,
Don't
I
make
get
him.
that.
She won't even let man even get a word in. Won't even let him get a word in. He just wants to. He's trying to figure things out because he didn't pay for your scholarship for your college. That was scholarship, all that kind of stuff. Like he's trying to figure out where's the money coming from though. And I get it, man. I respect that.
I'm talking about money.
You didn't know anything about the sacrifice of my grandfather. In America, you don't struggle like us.
Yeah, but the conversation isn't really about the sacrifice of your grandpa, is it now? That's not the conversation that Brandon's trying to have with you. Brandon's trying to ask you a simple question. Where the hell was he be getting money from the whole time? Because, boy, we need it. I've only got enough money to cover next month's rent. After that, we need some more. I don't blame him. But then again, even if he did ask Mary, which I still think he should have, regardless of what I'm about to say next, even if he did ask her beforehand, she probably would lie to him anyway. But either way, at least he would have known that she's lying to him, right? Like, well, he would have known until he flew over there, of course. But this is what happens when sometimes you don't get yourself financially secure, you know what I mean? And you just kind of wing it. Listen, I'm someone that I love to go with the flow of life, right? But at the same time, though, in life, you still need a freaking plan. Because goddamn, I'd be damned if I didn't have a plan and then I end up shooting myself in the foot because I didn't plan something out. Always have a foundation. Brandon came into this with no foundation. And that's the grand scheme of it. I mean, obviously Mary knew about it, but at the same time, Mary probably thought that he was going to be coming there with money because he's an American, right? Typical, stereotypical type shiz. When in reality, living in America is expensive as hell. But we continue.
I don't want you to ask my grandpa for help because I feel guilty about it.
I don't have a clue what she feels guilty for, to be honest with you. All you're asking money. So I do wonder, what is she not telling Brandon? Because you know Mary. Mary isn't an honest person. She's a flat-out liar. So there's obviously something that she's not telling us that's got to give. And whatever that is, Brandon is clearly not going to know about it anytime soon because Mary doesn't give a damn to tell the truth, but half the time she's hiding something in her back pocket. Honestly, shame on this girl. Absolutely shame on her. And that is the grand scheme of it. But listen, as far as I'm concerned, I still go back to the main point or the main theme of this video, and that is that Brandon should have definitely asked questions beforehand. And if anything, definitely should have came there with more money behind him rather than less money, knowing the fact that he was going to move into a country where job opportunities aren't at least easy as 1, 2, 3. And for me personally, if I'm moving somewhere where I know job opportunities are not easy as 1, 2, 3, trust me when I tell you, I'm going there with savings. I'm going there with savings that can at least last me for about a year. I mean, obviously, yeah, at least 6 months to a year, you know what I mean? But that's why I would go somewhere that I know that my money would have more value than somewhere that wouldn't. Like, for example, I wouldn't necessarily go to the States with a couple of £1,000 because I know it's not really going to last me that long in the States, you know what I mean? But with a couple of £1,000, maybe I'll go to a place like South Africa or something like that, you know what I mean? Or Zimbabwe or whatever, because I know that money's going to last me a good 6 months to a year because of the currency exchange, you know what I'm saying? And I think if I'm going to the Philippines now, knowing the currency exchange, I definitely would go with a couple of £1,000, you know what I mean, or a couple of $1,000, you know what I'm saying, bucks, and know that I can when I do the currency exchange, it's gonna give me a couple of like God knows what. Brandon didn't do that. He went there $306, and that's only enough for the next month. So technically, if he went there with like maybe $5,000, that would have been a good amount for a few months. You know what I mean? But then again, though, everybody's got the brain cells for making a plan because a lot of people are donuts in this world. But anyway, you guys let me know what you're thinking down below and talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.